Now, the most insane thing happened today, which involves the Speaker of the House, Lindsay Hoyle, which also implicates the Labour Party. And what Labour have done is downright corrupt, and it's the lowest of the low for political gain. Now, the ceasefire motion from the SNP wasn't selected for a vote. Instead, the government's amendment and Labour's amendment was. I mean, this is almost unprecedented. This was the SNP's bill. Now, usually there would be an amendment tabled. If it's from the government, then Labour wouldn't be able to table their own. Imagine how difficult that would be. I mean, Labour's amendments would be in direct contrast of some of the government's amendments. It's just a mess. But this was the SNP's motion, which has been completely sidelined. And that was because Lindsay Hoyle selected Labour's bill when it shouldn't have. Now, this was all done to protect Keir Starmer. He very likely would have faced a massive rebellion within the party if they had voted with the SNP. However, there is a shocking development. Labour blackmailed Lindsay Hoyle. Now, the political editor of Newsnight, Nicholas Watt, tweeted this. Senior figures tell me Commons Speaker was left in no doubt that Labour would bring him down after the general election unless he called Labour's Gaza Amendment. The message was, you would need our votes to be re-elected as Speaker after election, with strong indications that this would not be forthcoming if he failed to call the Labour Amendment. They literally said if he doesn't select this amendment, Labour will make sure he is no longer Speaker after the general election. This is clear-cut corruption. And all that to simply stop the SNP from potentially looking good with their motion. Labour are using a genocide to bolster their own political position. It's absolutely rancid. You've got some people saying that the SNP are playing political games for pushing for this motion. I mean, how is what Labour are doing not political games? It's insane. And some are going to say to me, well, you're only attacking Labour because you hate them. I mean, yes, I do hate them, and I hate where they are today. I'm not attacking them simply for that. I'm attacking them because the SNP amendment was really good. It calls for all hostages to be released. It's clear that Israel has committed collective punishment, which is in there. Therefore, it doesn't allow Israel a blank check, and they call for a permanent ceasefire. Now, Labour's amendment seeks to both sides of the issue, of course, which isn't strong enough when it comes to holding Israel to account, and almost certainly will let them off the hook. But there was nothing to stop Labour from backing the SNP amendment and holding the government to account, unless for political reasons, which is what they did. They've gone so far to fucking blackmail the Speaker because they threw their toys at the pram. Now, the Speaker is meant to be impartial, but he's clearly broken that, and he should absolutely resign, which the SNP are calling for, and they're right to do so. In fact, the Clerk of the House of Commons, something I've never heard of until today, has actually given a warning to Hoyle, saying what he did has broken from long-held traditions, and look, it's not a good look for him, and it's probably going to catch up to him in the future. Now, Owen Jones made a really good point. If this was Boris Johnson doing this, all the liberal centrists would be furious. They would say this is an affront to democracy. It's very much in the character of Boris Johnson, and the sensible Tories would never do this. And I'd be very interested in the response from them when it comes to Keir Starmer. Nothing's been said yet, but, we'll wait and see. But I won't be surprised if there isn't the same level of outrage because Keir Starmer's their man. He basically has all the policies of the Tories, even policies from Boris Johnson. But because Starmer does his tie-up properly, used to work for the Trilateral Commission, former Director of Public Prosecutions, just establishment through and through, they'll probably say, it's grown-up politics. And likewise with Corbyn, imagine the outcry if he had done this. It will be far worse than if Boris Johnson did it. The media will be warning us about an authoritarian communist takeover. It's the return of the Soviet regime. They certainly would have lost their minds. And I really, really hope Scotland votes for the SNP because Labour absolutely are the dredge, are the gutter of our politics. And I personally think that this makes Keir Starmer a terrible, awful person, and it signals the grotesque, corrupt way he will govern. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and drop a comment. It's good for the algorithm, and I'm interested in what you have to say. If you're not already subscribed, please do, and hit the notification bell. You can also support this channel by becoming a member for 99p per month, and if you're feeling a little more generous, then you can support us on Patreon for £3 or £5 per month. This channel for a while has been uploading every single day, and it's quite a lot of work that is still voluntary and scheduled around my paid work. But I have so much ambition. Expect in the future to see more variety in content, such as interviews and Vox Pops. But I want this to be a fully fledged media organisation where not only is this my full-time job, but to have multiple people working for Turn Left. I like to see a live show in the future, more content that delves into culture, history, and much more. But that can only be done if there's money. So please, if you can, support us in any way that's in your capacity. And thank you to existing members, subscribers, and patrons. See you next time.